How's it going, guys? This is going to be the video for the weekly outlook for GJ coming into the week of March 14th to 18th of 2022. Starting here on the weekly, one thing that I do want to first say is the fact that at the end of the March is going to be the end of a weekly quarter of the year. I'm sorry, not weekly. It's going to be the end of the quarter for the year. So we could see some movements based off the positioning of pretty much these big banks that have the positions, in their instruments that they trade and they use. So we could definitely see some movement in the charts related to the end of the first quarter of the year. So just keep that in mind. So starting here on the weekly, as mentioned in the last video, weekly sell zone here, expecting to come down to the weekly buy zone here. Since we're respecting the weekly sell zone here, expecting to come into the deeper half of the weekly buy zone. We already had a bearish move down, broke structure, so that already shows bearish presence, seller's presence. So it's very usual and normal that we're having a pullback retracement now. Myself, I'm looking for further sells. I am expecting definitely to at least fill this wick or fill some of this wick. If we do come into this 4-hour sell zone, which we'll come look into in the 4-hour time frame, that would definitely be some nice sells there. But definitely at the moment, like I said, we already had a bearish move down, broke structure here. Bears did what they had to do for the moment, showing their presence. Now we can have a retracement so that more bears, more sellers could come in and put in orders for sells. So last week we had this bullish candle print here. This honestly candle doesn't really show any very strong signs of bulls, of buyers, for two reasons. We broke the low of the previous candle, so the fact that we broke the low of the previous wick, our candle, shows bearish presence. This right here, in my opinion, is like a footprint. We showed that sellers are inside. We broke the wick. Now we have a retracement so that we can attack again these lows here. If market sentiment and everything is showing bearish presence, showing bears. So this week, I'm looking for continued bulls up into here, into this 4-hour sell zone would be nice to take some sells. Also, the fact that this candle was in an engulfing of this candle shows me is not very strong either. So I wouldn't depend so much on buyers to come in so heavy here, but definitely momentarily so that we can have a pullback for further sells down here. Coming into the 4-hour zone, the 4-hour time frame. So we can already see here we have some liquidity, not liquidity, but we have previous structure here. So this is definitely a sensitive area where more buys could be placed. As we see here, market opening, first 4-hour candle of the market, weekly open, we already have bullish engulfing, broke the highs, already made new highs for the week. So that shows already some bullish presence. And then, like I said, this be a very nice area for positions to be entered, which we could possibly be seeing right now. I wouldn't be surprised if during a London session or pre-New York, we'll have a pullback into this area and then continue buys there into the week. That would definitely be nice to look for. Definitely something. If we have a pullback tomorrow morning during pre-NY, which is where I typically like to enter my trades, definitely something like this would definitely be ideal. The more the more the retracement, definitely the better the entry and the risk to reward would be. But definitely something like this would be ideal for the week, coming into the week to play out. And then once we do reach here, into here, and if we have signs of sellers coming in, then we could potentially have a trade like this. And then we'll probably, based off what structure tells us, We'll look for a nice risk to reward ratio if it makes sense, and we'll go from there. Um, so definitely best scenario for buys would be a pullback to this 4-hour buy zone here. Why is this a 4-hour buy zone? Because here is where an order originated that led to a break of structure, breaking the structure here. So that shows us bullish buyers presence. As we can see with this engulfing candle here, strong candle, strong candle, strong candle, broke structure, possibly continuing up. So that's what I'm looking for in this week. Looking for pullback here. Since you are overall experiencing sells, minor retracement here for sellers to come back in and put further sell position orders in and continue into the deeper half of the weekly buy zone here. Also watching the news and the headlines coming from Russia and Ukraine. Definitely a mix of headlines that could cause some bullish and bearish moves in the market sentiment. So I have to be cautious with that and be watching those headlines and news and see how the market reacts depending on the headlines and news, and that'll show us how really important that specific headline is based off the market's reaction, investors' reaction in these instruments in these markets, and the way they move their instruments from risk on assets to risk off assets. So if we are seeing risk on currently at the moment with the pound being strong and the yen being weak, also if we come into the yen pair here, we can see the yen with bearish pressure here, breaking these lows down here. Will be interesting to see what JPY does from here. We could definitely have more sellers presence. And we do have this weekly sell zone here. Excuse me. We do have this weekly sell zone here that we already respected twice. So will be very interesting. Maybe we have a dip into here for some buys orders to be collected, and then we may have another push out. So we'll be looking at that as the JPY, as the yen affects the pound yen currency that we mainly trade and focus on. And yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you. Let's have a good week. Always getting better. Always looking to improve. Work on your mental. Definitely trading plays a big mental. It's a big mental game. Very something that's very important in trading is the confidence aspect of it. It's very easy to take a silly trade, lose, and then lose your confidence in your ability to analyze and trade the markets. So you're majority of the time better off just taking less trades, taking those trades that you're very, very confident in. So that you can establish that confidence in the markets, because that's really, from my experience and from what I've heard other people that I learn from and look up to have said, it's a confidence game. It's all a confidence game. All right, thank you guys. Love y'all.